All right, hope you're doing great. Welcome. And today we're going to be talking about how to succeed financially without actually failing spiritually. So, how to succeed financially without failing spiritually. I just want to do this quick little note before I go into a meeting. I'm here in Dallas today and going to be doing a leadership meeting with some of my partners here with the master's program. I'm super excited. But listen, I wanted to share something today that I think is going to be massively beneficial to you. And it's actually a guest blog post that I'm going to be reading from one of my dear good friends, John Rinehart. John Rinehart is the founder of Gospel Patrons and also the book author or the author of the book Gospel Patrons. He's amazing, great buddy of mine. And I'm going to point you guys to his website when we're done here, the gospelpatrons.org. But today we're going to be talking about how to succeed financially without failing spiritually. It's a big topic. Let me read through this. Here we go. We're going to go starting up at the top. And if you're a part of his email list, you're going to be able to get the content. But today was such a game changer for me. And such an impact on my life. I wanted to be able to share this with you guys, and hopefully you get to rewatch it over and over again, because this is such a poignant message for times such as this. So everything that's happening right now with the world and how crazy everything is, repositioning on career, job, all of that. Listen, I want you to put that aside for a second and just look at it through the lens from a biblical worldview, and what it looks like when it comes to our work, when it comes to our rest, when it comes to prospering, when it comes to our finances, what success actually looks like, what failure actually looks like as it pertains to that. But I'm just going to read this, and then we'll go through it and unpack it a little bit more. But thanks to everybody for joining me today. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear where you're coming in from. Listen, financial success often leads to the spiritual failure, and none of us are immune. But the way out begins with understanding how the cycle of success works and why so many smart people who've made it lose what matters most. Number one, success begins with hard work. Christians know that God is a worker and that he made us to work too. And the result of hard work is we often prosper. The Bible says the hand of the diligent makes rich. That's Proverbs 10:4. So the first point here is work. Two, prosper. But when the money rolls in, we begin to subtly think, it's my money. I've earned it. This mindset accelerates an unconscious inward spiral, because the truth is the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, which is Psalm 24:1. But money binds us from seeing our calling to manage God's money for God's purposes. Instead, we find ourselves wanting to settle down like the rich fool in Jesus' parable, who said to himself, "You have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax and eat and drink and be merry." It's Luke 12:19. So the first is work. The second one is prosper. And the third is rest. Listen, our prosperity leads us to rest. But our rest is not a pause before we get back in the game. It's a withdrawal from purpose. Most of us default to our rest being, we check out and think, this is my time to golf and travel and fish and shop and watch TV and be entertained. I've earned it. But those we see in church may even applaud us for our wise financial management. But this self-focused disengagement spirals us further inward. Then number 4, we forget. Wealth can bind us and lead us away from our first love. We no longer seek God and seek his kingdom first. Instead, like the Pharisees, we have tried to serve God and money. Like the Israelites, we have not listened to God's warning. Take care lest you forget the Lord your God, lest when you have eaten and are full and have built good houses and live within them, and when your herds and flocks multiply and your silver and gold is multiplied and all that you have is multiplied, then your heart will be lifted up and you forget the Lord your God. Beware lest you say in your heart, my power and the might of my hands have gotten me this wealth. So 1, we work for the wrong reasons. 2, we prosper for the wrong goal. 3, we're resting and thinking leisure is our ticket when it becomes our God. 4, we forget the moment that we finally get the finances that we want, the moment that we get the cushion, the security, we easily forget our God. Number 5, it is sin. Like Eve, we've seen created things as a delight to the eyes and desirable to make one wise. Genesis 3:6. It may be comfort or security that we've chased. For some, it's luxury and pleasure. Others of us have wanted to prove ourselves and successful and earn an identity. And so we bite, exchanging created things for our Creator God. We become lovers of self, lovers of money, and lovers of pleasure rather than the lovers of God. We have an appearance of godliness, but inwardly we deny its power. 2 Timothy 3:2-5. We may go to church, but like a flame in the wind, our passion for God has gone out and we wonder how we lost it. We may not openly reject Jesus. We've just wandered away from the faith. 1 Timothy 6:10. So there is a better way. This cycle of success has sunk so many men and women before us, but there is a better way. God offers us a way that spirals us outward toward God and others, and it begins with rest. Number 1 is rest. But let me recap. First, we said work. And we work for the wrong reasons, to prosper ourselves rather than to prosper, being able to have an impact for God. 2, we prosper for the wrong motives. 3, we think because we've prospered, it's our time to rest and we're all about just building our little empire and kingdom of just kicking it. 4, that complacency and that comfort becomes our God and helps us forget God. 5, it takes root, and that then becomes sin because like it says, we may go to church, but like a flame in the wind, our passion for God has gone out and we wonder why we lost it. We may not openly reject Jesus, but we've just wandered away from the faith, which is 1 Timothy. So the better way is this. I got to get going here. The cycle of success has sunk so many men and women before us, but there is a better way. God offers us a way that spirals us outward toward God and others, and it begins with rest. So number 1 is rest. Many business people are working for the hope of rest one day. Behind their intense drive and performance is the hope of a day when they succeed, so that much of what they that they can finally rest. But Christians are people who don't work for rest. We work from rest. We're working from rest. In God's top 10 list, we find a surprising command to not do any work one day a week. The Sabbath is a great gift that God wants us to give us, but many of us have not yet learned to receive it. And God invites us to weekly rhythm that calls us back to seeing ourselves as his children. And Sabbath is a reminder that God is in control of our lives, and it is with he who gives you the power to get wealth. Deuteronomy 8. God will do more from your rest in his grace than what you can do in your own personal grind. Number 2, worship. One of the things that we do on a Sabbath is worshiping God with singing. There's only one man in the Bible called a man after God's own heart, and that man, King David, wrote nearly half of the 150 Psalms in the Bible. And as we read David's poems and songs, he's continually calling us to sing praises to the Lord. Singing helps us put God back in the center of our lives where he belongs. Worship reverses our natural tendency to be consumed with ourselves and our work. Instead, worship is a way of seeing and remembering that Jesus is more valuable than any success, achievement, or treasure we could ever pursue. Number 3 is work. Then out of rest and worship, we work hard. Why? Because God made us to work. Our lives are to be living sacrifices to God. And for 40 plus hours a week, that looks like showing up to work, serving our clients, leading our team, increasing our sales, growing our company, and honoring our employees and employers. Romans 12:1. We don't work primarily to get money. We work to use the gifts that God has given us to serve others, to provide for our families, and to fulfill the good works God prepared for our lives. Ephesians 2:10. Our work done well is another form of worship. Number 4. So we first talked about rest, we talked about worship, we talked about work, we're talking about prosper. Number 4, often when we serve others well and solve important problems, we'll prosper. Listen to that. When we serve others well and solve important problems, we'll prosper. But as we do, we're prepared to acknowledge that the money God gives us belongs to him. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, declares the Lord of hosts, Haggai 2:8. We hold wealth with open hands rather than closed fists. We resist the idea that we're building our own kingdoms on earth and instead ask God how we can join him in building his kingdom. And God will open our eyes to see the needs of leaders and churches and ministries and missionaries and the poor and hurting around us. Number 5, after prosper, is give. Instead of using our money to withdraw and escape and to have leisure, we'll use God's money to be rich in good works, generous and ready to share. 1 Timothy 6:17. Giving will become a passion for us because we love God and love people and want to help people know who God is. We'll make friends and ourselves by means of unrighteous wealth so that when it fails, they may receive to us the eternal dwellings in Luke 16. We'll live with a heartbeat of generosity and show the world what our Father in heaven is like. Lastly, after give is rejoice. Finally, when we give, we'll experience one of the purest joys on earth. This joy of being God's channel to bless other people and advance the gospel will reinvigorate our work. In fact, we'll find greater purpose and motivation to work than we've ever experienced before. Long hours and heavy responsibility are acts of love that are connected to an eternal mission. I'll say that again. Long hours and heavy responsibility are acts of love that are connected to an eternal mission. We'll find that instead of living for weekends and vacations or retirement, our work will be one of the primary things we do to worship God, and our joy will grow more and more and more. This is the better way: to rest, to worship, to work, to prosper, to give, and to rejoice, and repeat it all again every single week. My friends, just from a personal standpoint, before I run into this meeting, I wanted to share this with you today before it got too late, but I just got to let you know, if you miss any part of this, you can rewatch it, and there's a lot of points. You know, we talked about the things that can snag us and taking us out when we're successful in the slightest bit, and when we look to money to be our God. Our work can become our idol. Our prosper can be for the wrong reasons. Our rest can be never found and never the true source of where our true rest comes from. We forget our God. We kick him out. And we live a sinful life of making money, possessions, and things our idol and our driver and our true identity in terms of our self-worth being found in our net worth. My dear friends, I just want to tell you, the better way is to rest and to operate from his rest, in his grace, not from the grind of our own self-will. To worship him, and our work is an act of worship. To work as an act of worship back to him, to bring him praise for what he's done for us. And the greatest thing that our work can do is to bring others to his love as a result of that. Fourth, to prosper in that endeavor. To prosper in that endeavor when we've solved important problems and we've served others in that process. To use our giving as an act of worship back through that process is a rejoicing that our work isn't something that we want to escape from. Our work is something that we find joy in because our work is an act of worship back to him for what he has done for us. So do we take on that posture today? And for those of you that would love an incredible reading, I want to encourage you to check out The Gospel Patrons by John Rinehart, my good buddy who wrote this blog for us today that I'm reading. Go to gospelpatrons.org. Go to gospelpatrons.org. Also follow him on Instagram, Gospel Patrons. Look at John's work. He's one of my dear friends, partners in this life, doing life together, locking arms and raising the tide to illuminate as many people to the truth of what God is doing through business, through generosity, through giving. This book changed my life, you guys, about 5 years, well over 6 years ago now. This book changed Chantel and I's life. Everything that we're doing now on our assignment is due to what this book has done and what it helps teach us through the master's program and through John's work. So listen, we're not getting any less busy. And we're going to continue to bang the drum to bring as many other folks into the fold of what this is all about, of what the power of generosity can do. These are the stories that change the world through acts of generosity. And then let me just encourage you today for application. It's not about commas and zeros. It's not about the amount of money and about the amounts. It's the spirit and the tone and the opening of your heart that you are an active distributor of funds, time, talent, and revenue that you're able to use as a solution to help others. And for us, we want to provide creativity and story to bring hope to the world through selling art, courses, teaching, anything that we do, any product that we do, any time that we invest. We want to bring others to that hope. Focus on this, my friends. Focus on this. And your day and your world and your life and everything through that eternal biblical world lens is going to look 10 times different than if you were trying to look at it through the culture's worldview and through the news. You can listen to that noise, or you can take control of the time, talent, and treasure that's been put in front of you today, because that is what you do have control over. And I want to encourage you with that today. That is what you do have control over today. Take this book, sharpen your mind, sharpen your saw. I'm telling you, it'll impact you. Go to gospelpatrons.org to check that out. Instagram, Gospel Patrons. Tag John in there, say hi to him, and he's actually traveling on sabbatical right now, but a wonderful friend, a wonderful partner. I pray that this meets you guys today. We're going to be talking about a couple great topics over the next couple of weeks. Leave a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us on Facebook. Thanks for joining us on Instagram, and hope that these strategies really help you see things through a different perspective when it comes to your time, your talent, your money, what you're doing with your work, what prosperity actually looks like, what rest looks like, what generosity looks like, what sin actually looks like, and maybe pick that better way. Hope you guys have an incredible day. God bless you, be with you, and take action today. Make today an investment, all right? And may every day have eternal consequences in a beautiful way, because you've invested, making every single day an eternal investment in your life. God bless you guys. Love you guys. Have an incredible, incredible week. We'll see you later. Anything you guys missed, watch the replays on Instagram TV. Leave a comment down below. You can watch the replays on Facebook. And then I'm going to be posting this on my blog at noahelias.net. Cheers. See you guys.